You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Quinshon Judkins. That's right, the guy the Cleveland Browns decided to draft over throwing Nick Chubb a couple of $1 million. Looks like that may have backfired royally. By the way, Judkins is one of the last second-round pick to not sign a contract. A bunch of the rest of the guys got, I think, fully guaranteed contracts. Odds are he will not. In fact, I'm seeing some rumblings out there right now that he may get no guaranteed money. I mean, this thing has taken a hell of a turn. And we'll look at some of the comments from fans because, I mean, Cleveland Browns fans are in hell right now. The NFL has commented, and in commenting, they've decided to not comment. NFL spokesman Mary Kay Cabot, by the way, Brian McCarthy, on the arrest of Browns running back Quinshon Judkins on domestic violence charge, quote, "We are aware of the matter, but will decline further comment." Oh, boy. That's not good. I told you guys earlier, because of it being domestic violence, Roger Goodell may choose to act on this rather than wait. The reality is the NFL will investigate the situation. They'll potentially impose discipline under the personal conduct policy. That's what we talked about earlier, after the criminal matter has been resolved. So Florio is saying they could wait till after the criminal matter has been resolved. However, there's this. Before then, the league could, in theory, place Judkins on paid leave, pending resolution of the situation. It's a case-by-case analysis driven largely by PR concerns, public relations. The more serious the charges and the more they relate to domestic violence, the more likely the league becomes to use paid leave. So if something happens as they investigate this and they're like, we don't want this guy on the field at all, they're going to opt to keep him off the field. As to a potential discipline, the baseline suspension for domestic violence is 6 games, but that won't happen until after the criminal case is done. Along the way, Judkins has protections. In the eyes of the law, he's presumed innocent. As to the NFL, he'll have the ability to defend himself through an eventual hearing if it comes to that. Regardless, the situation activates internal NFL procedures. While the league has declined to comment as to Judkins, the policy and the history of enforcement of it says it all. And like I said, what Roger Goodell is trying to prevent, like I said earlier, is looking like an idiot, like he did after the Ray Rice thing, because he handed out a judgment. And then all of a sudden the video came out. And it was like, whoa, that video was unforgiving, okay? And Goodell got destroyed. And then all of a sudden he had to step in and change the way he did business on domestic violence. So enter in some more reaction. The Browns have drafted 2 players from Ohio State in the second round. They were both arrested before training camp. Oh, wow. Mike Hall Jr. arrested before the start of training camp. Quinshon Judkins arrested before the start of training camp. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you about Quinshon Judkins, though, he was getting drafted in the second round. And there was people that thought he might get drafted in the first round. All right? Nonetheless, it's a bad look. Judkins had no priors. He had no character issues at Ohio State and was always talked about as a good guy in the community. This franchise is cursed and rotten. If the Rams would have drafted him, he would have been in church. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy because there has to be somebody that knows something. You got to remember what happens now with the NFL is they got people on hand that are ex-law enforcement. And they start doing them some detective work, all right, on the situation. And they start talking to the victim, witnesses, the whole nine. Wish the NFL would have made this known before the Browns let Chubb go for nothing. Well, nobody knew. Nobody knew. I don't guess. What's this say? Let's see. Trying to see if anything was out there about character issues, because that guy's laughing. No character issues at Ohio State. So there we go. I mean, honestly. Quinshon Judkins and Deshaun Watson fighting over the last bar of soap in a cell. That's hilarious. I mean, that actually is hilarious. Yeah, Judkins would beat him senseless. Man, Deshaun Watson just comes across as creepy. We draft typical Browns. We draft Judkins. He gets arrested. Guy holding out on his contract. We let the greatest back in my lifetime that wanted to be here, who happens to never get in trouble, a great role model, walk for $2.5 million. Unbelievable clown franchise. Guys, there's a lot of Browns fans pissed right now. They're not happy about it. I'm watching very closely to see how the Cleveland media handles this Judkins arrest. My dog got crucified for speeding. Yeah, but hold on. One's a running back, one's a quarterback, and it does matter. It absolutely does matter. You want your quarterback to be, crystal clear clean. Clean as a whistle. Seriously. It won't be the same. Shedur's a quarterback. Exactly. That's all there is to. Y'all can all that part and for sure and right and all that crap. All you want to. They hate Shedur. No, he's a quarterback. And quarterbacks are going to get treated and put on a higher standard right off the bat. You always notice when people talk about character issues, blah, 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 wide receivers getting second chances, all this bullshit. It's always going to be harder on a quarterback if they do anything, because Shedur is looked at as a potential CEO of the entire franchise, right? The guy that's the face of the franchise. Judkins is not the face of the franchise. He's a running back. And yeah, I guess in a way he could have worked himself there like Adrian Peterson, but with the Vikings, but still, it's always quarterback. Especially one as high profile as Shedur. And it was the combination of the speeding thing and him dropping in the draft because of perceived potential, I don't even want to say character issues, but flaws in how he handles his business, And then he handled his business poorly by getting 2 speeding tickets. By the way, nobody's saying the domestic violence thing ain't way worse, because it is. It is. All right? Way worse than 2 speeding tickets. It's not even close. But how it's treated, that's the difference. If anybody's looking for the difference, quarterback is completely different. So, there you go. Wow. Cleveland damn Browns. They are the gift to this channel that keeps on giving, because it's always something. It's nuts. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Before we jump in, make sure you go to our merch store, our Make Basketball Great Again shirt, and our newest shirt that just came out. Both shirts are brand new. The American Flag Skull Fever Enforcer shirt. And use promo code CC22 for 20% off.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.